Well. Elon Musk's loyalty to President Trump and the MAGA fan base, he is now facing his toughest test with the new tariffs literally threatening to tank his whole Tesla empire. What's going on, everybody? It's Professor Zeus, and I'm back with another video. Yo, if this is your first time at the channel, so I greatly appreciate you. Thank you for stopping by. Go ahead and hit subscribe. We're on our way to 2,000 subscribers. We're taking it the humble route. Guys, listen. It has been just revealed that this past weekend, Elon Musk reportedly went head-to-head with Donald Trump over his new tariff plans. Guys, the guy who's been cozying up to the MAGA crowd, he's now extremely uncomfortable and literally sweating bullets over the trade policy. So what's going on here? Is it, a clash of principles, or is Elon just feeling how his wallet is getting affected? Let's break it down, look at all sides, and, spark a bigger conversation about power, politics, and money. Remember, guys, hit that subscribe button. Let's get into it. So Reuters just dropped this article. Musk made direct appeals to Trump to reverse new tariffs, Washington Post reports. Tech billionaire and Tesla CEO Elon Musk made direct yet unsuccessful appeals to U.S. President Donald Trump to reverse tariffs over this past weekend. This exchange marks the highest profile disagreement between the president and Musk. It follows Trump's unveiling of a 10% baseline tariff on all imports into the U.S., along with higher duties on dozens of other countries. The White House and Musk did not immediately respond to Reuters for comment. Musk, Trump advisor who's been working to eliminate wasteful U.S. public spending, called for zero tariffs between the U.S. and Europe during a virtual interaction at a Congress in Florence of Italy's right-wing co-ruling League Party over the weekend. This is extremely interesting, guys, because, we just talked about the other situation where, Elon was making fun of Peter Navarro, which is like another Trump advisor who deals more so with tariffs and different things like that. And I was just revealed that, he was actually reaching out to the administration directly to, cut loose with these tariffs, right? And what's even crazier is, the article said that, the tariffs include a 10% baseline on all U.S. imports. But literally yesterday, I think the U.S. went even further with steeper tariffs, specifically 50% tariffs on countries like China. And, Elon, he's really feeling it because he got huge factories in China, different things like that, and this can really affect his business, right? So if we look at it from Elon's side, right, he's been completely super MAGA, all these different types of things. He's obviously a vocal supporter of President Trump, and he's been pouring millions into the campaign. He's the advisor, head person at DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency. And what's crazy is the tariffs are hitting him right now where it hurts his business, right? Tesla relies heavily on global supply chains, especially parts from China, right? Now, what really is happening, higher tariffs obviously are going to make things extremely expensive, right? They're going to really squeeze Elon's profit margins and make Tesla cars more expensive for consumers, right? And it's the same deal with SpaceX. A lot of his satellites, spaceships, different things like that, there are a lot of imported components. They don't come cheap, right? When you have to, put things in space. Now, obviously, I'm trying to be fair. It's not about just Elon's bottom line or anything like that. Elon has long been a proponent of free trade, even before all of this tariff stuff and all these tariff talks, right? This past weekend, again, he spoke at that a conference in Italy. He wanted a free trade zone, right? He's not wrong to worry about, you know, the ripple effects that, you know, a lot of economists are, you know, speaking about as well. You know, they're saying that tariffs could spike inflation, raise costs for everyday Americans by thousands a year, right? And even tip the US into a recession. Right. Right. And the past 5 years, we have been constantly hearing about recession talks. But it's only now that it seems more probable or possible than ever. So is Elon the voice of reason here, or is he just trying to save the economy or just save his wallet? Right? Three things can be true at the same time, right? Now, if we're looking at it from President Trump's perspective, this plan, again, I've been talking about tariffs for a long time. Let me not say a long time, but the past few of my videos, I've been talking about tariffs, right? His plan is like literally the cornerstone of his economic vision. He's playing it so that it's a way to bring manufacturing back to America, you know, protect U.S. workers, and obviously try to reset, you know, the trade table. And a lot of MAGA, a lot of his supporters love this, right? They see it as a way to, you know, yeah, China, you know, stop taking advantage of, you know, U.S. citizens and different things like that. That's how they're looking at it. And then, you know, you had Liberation Day where, you know, President Trump discussed who's getting what type of tariff and different things like that. Obviously, tariffs were a big part of President Trump's first administration, but he's doubling down now, right? To him, so like to President Trump, it might seem like Elon's complaints just sound like a whole bunch of whining from a mega billionaire, right? Who's just extremely tied to the foreign markets. And it just came up right now that, let me see if I can pull it up. Now, Trump wants to put 104% tariffs on China. Let me see if I can pull this up. Trump, 104% tariffs. It's crazy. It's honestly crazy. Hold on, let me see if I can pull this up right here. Trump awaits call from China, but aides say deal not likely before 104% tariffs hit. And then if we just go to news, Trump imposes 104% tariff on China effective midnight. I mean, this is where things get tricky, right? All these tariffs, they're not just about economics, right? It's political fuel. If prices soar and inflation kicks in, voters are more than likely going to turn on him. And so many Republicans are now saying, oh, you know, my 401k doesn't matter, different things like that. But President Trump, he campaigned on lowering living costs. But now we're just seeing everything rising. Plus, other countries are already hitting back with their own tariffs, which could hurt American exporters. So while President Trump, you know, he's basing the whole America First ideology, the blowback could be extremely messy, right? And is he willing to risk that just to, you know, meet his goals for global trade? And let's not ignore the irony, right? Elon's, you know, whole pivot to being super MAGA was extremely strategic, right? He saw, you know, President Trump as, you know, a way to push deregulation, cut government spending, you know, boost his own companies. But now that same MAGA agenda is affecting him negatively, right? It's like he didn't read the fine print on the American First contract, right? And this raises a bigger question. Can you be all in on a movement when its policies can affect your own interests? This is a classic case of ideology versus self-interest. And Elon, he's necessarily caught in the middle, right? So, you know, where do we go from here? If Elon keeps pushing back, he's risking alienating, you know, President Trump and his base. If he backs off, he might have to eat higher costs and watch Tesla's stock, already down 42+% this year alone, take another hit. For President Trump, sticking to tariffs could solidify his image as a tough negotiator, but at what cost to the economy? And for the rest of us, everyday people, we're left wondering who's really looking out for the average person when billionaires and presidents are button heads. You got to be creative in this market. You got to be creative on the day-to-day. But this is where I want to hear from you guys. Are tariffs a bold move to fix trade imbalances, or a reckless gamble that essentially affects us all? Is Elon a hypocrite for flipping on MAGA when it suits him, or is he right to call out a bad policy? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's keep this conversation going. If you want more deep dives like this, smash that like button, subscribe, hit the bell notification so you always get notified when I drop a new video. And never forget, it's you and I verse information, application, execution. Till next time, peace.